So for today's assignment, we have to write a program to poll for a logic input on port B and display the value on port D connected to a 7-segment display. So the condition here is if button on B0 is pressed, display your student ID in sequence, and if the button on B1 is pressed, display your student ID in reverse order. There should be a 1 second delay between the display of each digit. So to start the program, we have to draw our flowchart. So this is the flowchart that I have drawn. So first we have to start the program, and then we configure the port, that is port B and port D. So after we configure the ports, we have to check whether B0 is pressed or not. If it is pressed, then we will display the ID in sequence. And after that, it will check whether B1 is pressed or not, and if it is pressed, it will display the ID in reverse order, and it will then off the 7-segment display, and it will rotate it and looping it until we stop the program. And if the B0 is not pressed, it will check the B1, and if B1 is not pressed too, it will off the 7-segment display and it will loop it until we finish the program. So the program is here. I have written the program. So the program here use a 1 second delay here, subroutine, 1 second delay subroutine, and the subroutine to display all the number or character in my student ID is used in subroutine as what we do in the last assignment. So the only thing that added is to display the ID in sequence or to display the ID in reverse order subroutine. So the subroutine for display ID in sequence is called this ID, and to display the ID in reverse order is called ref ID. So after we start, the program is here. We start the program and we configure the port. We start program and we configure the port, and after that we check wherever the bit on port B0 is set or clear. Here is BTFSC, means bit test file, skip if clear. So if the port B button is not pushed, it will skip this line. So it will check bit test file, skip if clear port B on bit 1. So if it is not pressed also, it will skip and clear the port, and it will clear the port D, and it will go again and check again. So if it is pressed, it will go to the this line, call this ID. Call this ID is to display ID in sequence of the subroutine. So we call the ID here, and after it finish, it will check wherever the the button on port B is push or not. If it is push, it will call ref ID and display the ID in reverse subroutine, in reverse order. So after it finish display the ID, it will clear port B and it will check again and again. It will loop until we stop the program manually. So after we write the program, we have to save the program, and save as, we have to save as ass6.asm. So I replace it. So after that, we go to project wizard, we next, and save as 6, and we save here and go next. After that, we put the ASM file here, click next, finish, And after we finish all, we have to configure bits, and we have to go to HS oscillator and watch the timer disable, port D digital, and supply disable. So after that, we have to build the program and wait until the program succeed, and go to file, export, and OK, and we have to overwrite the ASS HEX file. So after that, we go to the Proteus. Here is the Proteus, and this is how my circuit looks like. So the button B0 and B1 is here. B0 connected to RB0 and B1 connected to RB1. That is port B1. So we have used the resistor here to escape from any damage that will be if it is not here. If it's so, as you can see here, the default one is ground, so input logic 0, and if we push the button, it will put the input logic 1. So here is the 7-segment display. It connected to port D. So we have to go edit properties, and we change 20 MHz because the delay that I use are for 20 MHz. And we have to change the ASM file to we have to import the hex file. So we click OK, and we run the program. As you can see, nothing is happening right now. And if I push the B0 button, it will display my ID in sequence DE 96498, and it will clear the file. So after that, if we push the button on B1, it will display my ID in reverse order. That is 8, 9, 4, 6, 9, E, D, and it will stop. It will stop the 7-segment display from displaying any number. So if we just push both of the button, it will display 8, 9, 4, 6, 9, E, D, and it will go to the first one and DE 9, 6, 4, 9, 8. So that is all for my program. And as you can see here, all the ID display, it will have a delay in 1 second for every digit display. So that's all for today's assignment. Thank you.